Hey XRP family, I have to tell you, this is going to sound completely crazy, but things are starting to come together in a way we haven't seen before. This is Jake Claver's most recent XRP forecast, and it's by far the most daring one he's ever made. He thinks that XRP could reach any price between $1 and $2,000 in early 2026. It's not a mistake. $1 to $2,000. Before you say, that's not possible, let's go over the exact events and situations Jake sees happening. The reasoning behind it is interesting, even if you don't believe the numbers. This isn't money advice, but pay attention. If even a few of these dominoes fall in the order that Jake Claver says they will, the price action for XRP would be historic, and it would change the whole crypto scene. And before I talk about these triggers, I have a special offer for people who really want to find the next big market winners. I made Find 100x Stocks the best help for investors who want to become millionaires. It has lots of files, pictures, movies, and other things on it. It has all the information you need to find chances before everyone else does. The link is in the note below that has been pinned. You simply cannot miss it if you're at all serious about getting better at business. Right now, you can get free NVDA stocks worth up to $1,000 when you use my special Moo link in the description to make a $100 payment. There aren't many cheap stocks like NVDA, so make the most of this chance while it lasts. Let's get started. Jake Claver thinks that a series of events could happen in the next few months that would make it possible for XRP to hit levels that seem out of this world. First, let's talk about one of the biggest, the end of the reverse carry trade. What does that mean? Simply put, there will be a huge shift in money moving from standard markets to alternative assets like XRP. If global reserve carry trades fall apart and money that has been sitting in bonds, stocks, and traditional finance starts to move into digital assets, XRP could be one of the biggest winners. Jake thinks that this happening 20 to 30% of the time. What could speed that up now? Jake gives Tether a straight look. He thinks that extra attention from US regulators could lead to a coordinated attack on USDT. Think about that. If people lose faith in Tether, it will have a terrible effect on Bitcoin. Don't forget that Tether has been very important in keeping the price of Bitcoin high. Bitcoin will be less strong if that link is cut, but XRP is now the safe haven option, especially since regulations are now clear. To be clear, we all know that the SEC dropped their cross appeal. That case is over. Spot XRP ETFs are the next big step forward. We expect new information in the middle to end of October, especially between October 18th and 20th, when the SEC is scheduled to give us information on ETF approvals. Just the money coming in from these ETFs could send shockwaves through the market. In the next part, Claver talks about XRP as the world bridge currency, which is their biggest idea. Now, Jake himself says that there is a less than 5% chance that this will happen on a large scale in the near future. The idea is easy, though. We've never seen so many cross-border payments and business settlements made possible by XRP. It's not just good news if this acceptance speeds up. It's generational. The supply shock situation makes this seem more likely. Supply is already getting tighter because of institutional usage and utility-driven demand. There is only 8 to 9% of XRP on platforms right now. The rest is being taken off and kept, most likely because big utility-driven demand is coming up. There might not be enough XRP to go around if banks and states start using it for settlement. Now, this is where things get interesting. Paper XRP will not be put into ETFs. They will have to be backed by real XRP from the market. That brings in huge amounts of money. Some predictions, like those from the CEO of Canary Capital, say that up to $5 billion could flow straight into XRP in the first few weeks after it was approved. Now, if the market cap ratio goes up by 500 times, that $5 billion could become $2.5 trillion. Just that makes XRP worth more than a few $100s. Claver goes even further, though. For XRP to hit that crazy $1,000, $2,000 range, its market cap would have to be between $50 and $100 trillion. That sounds crazy, right? Jake thinks that those numbers aren't just made up when you look at the supply shock, ETF inflows, the collapse of Tether, the weakening of Bitcoin, the clarity of regulations, and the fact that global instability is pushing money into alternative assets. In a perfect storm situation, they become possible. Now, let's talk about big picture stress. There are problems in the Middle East, warnings of a global recession, and a lack of cash in many big economies. When things are unclear, institutions look for assets that are quick, strong, and good at what they do. The speed and low cost of settlement for XRP could make it a magnet for capital that wants to leave risky or slower systems. And this isn't just a guess. It has been getting ready for this by Ripple. They have links to more than 100 banks around the world, such as Santander, SBI Remit, SCB, the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, and others. Over 90% of the daily foreign exchange markets are already covered by Ripple's payment network, which is made up of 90 markets. Every day, that's 7.5 trillion going around. XRP is very different from most cryptocurrencies, even if it only gets a small part of that. The growth of Ripple is happening very quickly. They paid $200 million to buy Rail, setting them up with a huge base for stablecoin payments between businesses. It is expected that business-to-business purchases will reach trillions in the next few years. Ripple is putting XRP and RLUSD right in the middle of it. Also, get this, through Aeon Pay, Ripple's partnerships now reach almost 20 million merchants in Southeast Asia. Plans are in the works to expand to Africa, Latin America, and other developing areas. This is not a guess. This is change that can be seen. Brick by brick, the infrastructure for XRP to be used around the world is being built. Here's one more thing. These banks are already moving. The Royal Monetary Authority of Bhutan, the Bank of Thailand, and the Saudi Central Bank have all tried out banking systems that use Ripple. There are also American Express and Bank of America involved. These aren't small test runs. These are businesses that handle billions of dollars every day. Take a look at it this way. Ripple and Stellar are being added to payment and messaging services around the world. Ripple isn't just marketing XRP as a risky currency. They are putting it right into the new banking system that is being built right now. And it's not over when the bills are paid. Asset tokenization is about to go through the roof. It could be stocks, bonds, real estate, derivatives, loans, or even things we haven't even thought of yet. As tokenization grows, so will the need for settlement rails that are quick, safe, and liquid. The XRP is set up to be right in the middle. That's why Jake Claver doesn't say that these numbers are magic when he talks about them. He is saying that the infrastructure that Ripple has been building for more than 10 years is finally going to work with big changes in the economy that could make money flow into XRP faster than anyone thought possible. When rising demand meets falling supply, prices rise and fall in a way that we have only seen a few times in history and never on this large of a scale. Take a look at what's going on with Ripple's business plan right now. They aren't just getting banks to sign up, they are securing payment corridors for money transfers, relationships with central banks, stablecoin integrations, and payment systems for businesses. Every new street, bank, and store network brings more money into the market, which XRP can use. This is how you make a real-world bridge asset. The purchase of by Ripple is a great example. Rail wasn't just one more way to pay. A lot of money was already moving every year in B2B stablecoin transactions. By adding that to Ripple's environment, they've just made the infrastructure that brings businesses to XRP rails even better. Don't forget that payments between businesses are huge. It's trillions of dollars a year, which is a lot more than small transfers. And Ripple has set up XRP to be the payment layer for that growth. RLUSD is Ripple's own stablecoin, so don't forget about it. When that goes live on a large scale, it will connect straight to XRP liquidity pools. Stablecoins are not threats to XRP. In order to get more people to use, accept, and store XRP, these things are like a Trojan horse. Ripple's game plan is to orchestrate and issue at the same time, which is happening at the same time that governments and businesses are becoming more open to crypto. Think about ETFs once more. A lot of people don't realize how strong this trigger could be. Spot X, R, P, E, T, F, and S aren't just for exposure. They have to do with flows. There will need to be real XRP bought from the market to back up the billions of dollars from pension funds, hedge funds, and individual buyers. Since platforms only offer single-digit percentages of XRP, the supply shock can't be avoided at that point. It's not hype, it's math. And how you feel at this very moment is important. The story changes once ETFs are accepted. XRP used to be the cryptocurrency that was fighting the SEC. Now it is a controlled asset backed by institutions that trades on Wall Street through ETFs. Just that change in how people see things will bring in money. There will be a lot of fear of missing out, FOMO, especially if early buyers drive the price quickly into the double digits. Also, don't forget about diplomacy. Capital always looks for safety when there is a global disaster like a trade war, a regional conflict, or a breach of debt. In the past, that's been gold, government bonds, or dollars. but now there's a new competitor. Fast settling, international, and liquid assets are ones like XRP. XRP can be a safe asset during times of instability if institutions know they can move money quickly without using old rails. The old way of doing things is already showing signs of wear. Pilot projects with Ripple are being run by central banks. The XRP ledger is being used by payment companies. It is already being used by banks like Santander and money transfer giants like SBI Remit, and the rest fall faster than anyone thinks after the first one. Just think about how quickly stablecoins became popular. One year they were hard to find, and the next they were used by trillions of people. It can happen just as quickly with XRP if the right conditions are in place. Let's get a bigger view. It now connects to more than 90% of the world's foreign exchange markets. All of that money changes hands every day. Imagine that XRP got just 1% of that flow. That's $75 billion in daily volume, which is a lot more than we've ever seen in crypto. That is the size we are being serious about. It's not a guess. It's the hard math of settlement saves and liquidity. By moving to XRP rails, banks save a lot of money every year. That's the reason they're moving. There's one more level. Making tokens. Right now, we're just beginning to scratch the surface. Everything is going on chain: stocks, bonds, real estate, and goods. And a bridge is needed every time a tokenized object needs to cross borders. XRP is that bridge. All three of these groups agree that tokenization will become a trillion-dollar business in the next few years. XRP doesn't need to get all of it. People still can't understand how a small piece of the market can raise it to such a high level. Because of this, Claver is sure when he says that each coin could be worth $2,500 or even $2,000 in a perfect storm. That's not because he wants to shock people. Because of changes in liquidity, the flow of money into ETFs, a shock in supply, clear rules from regulators, and the tokenization wave, the ceiling is blown wide open. Plus, there were only 100 billion XRP made, and most of them are locked up or held for a long time. So it doesn't take as much money coming in as you might think to make the price go through the roof. Don't forget that markets are driven by opinion and money. As I write this, the liquidity rails for XRP are being built. As the catalysts go live, trust will follow. That's why time is so important. Early 2026 isn't just a guess. All of these things could happen at the same time. The ETF approvals, the possible review of the tether, the unwinding of the carry trade, and Ripple's growth. We are, without a doubt, closer than ever to that point where things change. Regulations are now clear. ETFs are almost here. Ripple's network is used all over the world. There is less liquidity, and everyone needs faster, cheaper, and safer financial tracks badly. That's why XRP is in a unique situation to take the lead. Now, for people who are ready to take advantage of chances like these, not just with XRP, but also with the next generation of life-changing investments, I've put together Find 100X Stocks, the ultimate guide for rich investors. There are a lot of papers, pictures, videos, and strategies inside that will help you spot huge opportunities before they become popular. The link is in the note below that has been pinned. As soon as you read this, it will pay for itself 1,000 times over. Also, don't forget that if you put $100 through the link in the description, you can get free NVDA stocks worth up to $1,000. One of the biggest names in tech right now is NVDA. It makes sense to get free publicity like that.